A young boy's heartfelt gesture of love for his devoted mom sets off a chain of events beyond imagination when Elon Musk unexpectedly steps into a small-town jewelry store. What unfolds next is a story of hope, generosity, and dreams that will leave you awestruck and deeply inspired. Ethan's fingers clenched tightly around the crumpled bills and loose change in his pocket, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. For weeks, he'd scrimped and saved every penny he could get his hands on, mowing lawns, skipping after-school treats, and even calling in small favors from neighbors. Today was the day he was finally going to give his mom something special, something that could show her just how much he appreciated all the sacrifices she made for him. As the sun set over Springfield, Missouri, casting a soft golden glow on the town, Ethan pushed open the door of a modest jewelry shop tucked between a bakery and a thrift store. The little bell above the door chimed softly, and the shopkeeper, a kind-eyed older man, glanced up, giving Ethan a nod of acknowledgement. Ethan stepped in, the cool air inside mixing with the warmth from the setting sun. His eyes wandered over the sparkling displays, but it was one piece that caught his attention. It wasn't flashy or extravagant, just a simple silver bracelet with a single heart-shaped charm. Something about it seemed perfect. He could already picture his mom wearing it, smiling as she sipped her coffee on the porch after a long day. This was the gift. Ethan picked up the bracelet, his fingers brushing the smooth metal, marveling at its understated beauty. When he turned it over and saw the price tag, his stomach dropped. It was closer than he'd hoped, but there was enough, just enough. He knew she deserved it. With a steadying breath, he walked to the counter, carefully placing the bracelet down, his eyes glistening with determination. The shopkeeper smiled kindly, ringing up the bracelet without a word. Ethan began counting out his money, each bill feeling heavier than the last. Then the door swung open again, the bell jingling louder this time. The shopkeeper's attention shifted, his brow lifting slightly as he recognized the visitor. The air in the shop seemed to change, charged with something unspoken. Ethan turned around, curiosity piqued. The sound of purposeful footsteps grew nearer. Slowly, he looked up and froze. A tall man in a hoodie and jeans walked into the store, his presence somehow both unassuming and magnetic. It took a moment for Ethan to process it, but when it clicked, his breath caught in his throat. It was Elon Musk, the man he'd only ever seen in headlines, videos, and interviews. The shopkeeper froze for just a beat, his eyes widening before quickly regaining his composure. He greeted Musk with a polite smile, but for Ethan, the world seemed to pause. What was he doing here, in this tiny jewelry store in Springfield of all places? Was he dreaming? Ethan blinked, half convinced the scene unfolding before him was a figment of his imagination. "Afternoon," Musk said casually, offering a brief nod to the shopkeeper before letting his gaze wander over the shop shelves. He moved like any other customer, searching for something special, but Ethan could feel the tension building in the air, as though everyone was waiting for something extraordinary to happen. Trying to steady his racing heart, Ethan turned back to the counter, focusing on his money, but his hands trembled as he laid out each bill. The shopkeeper seemed distracted now, glancing back at Musk, while carefully counting the change for Ethan. The moment had changed. Everything had changed. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. "Nice bracelet," Musk's voice broke the quiet, and Ethan's heart jumped. He glanced up to see Musk standing a few feet away, his eyes fixed on the small piece of jewelry in Ethan's hands. Ethan swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. Thanks," he muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. "Who's it for?" Musk asked, his tone friendly but genuinely curious. Ethan hesitated, glancing at the shopkeeper, who gave him an encouraging smile. "It's for my mom," he finally said, his voice steadying. "Her birthday is tomorrow. She works really hard, and I wanted to get her something nice." Musk's expression softened. He nodded almost imperceptibly and stepped closer to the counter. "That's thoughtful of you. What made you choose this one?" he asked, gesturing toward the bracelet. Ethan felt his cheeks flush. "It's simple but elegant. She doesn't wear a lot of jewelry, but I think she'll like it. I want her to know I notice how much she does for me." For a moment, Musk didn't say anything. He just studied Ethan as if trying to piece together the story behind his words. Then a small smile tugged at the corners of his lips. Ethan couldn't have guessed what Musk was about to do next, But the man's interest in his story was only the beginning. Musk leaned casually against the counter, folding his arms. "How old are you?" he asked. His tone light, but his gaze sharp, as though he was genuinely intrigued by Ethan. 13. Ethan replied, still clutching the bracelet as if it might slip away. Musk chuckled softly. 13 and already saving up for a gift like this, that's impressive. Most kids your age would be buying video games or sneakers. Ethan shrugged, suddenly feeling self-conscious. My mom's been through a lot. She works long hours at the diner and always makes sure I have everything I need, even when I know it's not easy for her. I just wanted to give her something special for once. Musk tilted his head slightly, his expression shifting to something softer. Almost thoughtful. Sounds like you've got a good head on your shoulders, Ethan, he said. It's not every day you meet a kid who thinks like that. Ethan's eyes widened in surprise. How do you know my name? Musk pointed to the small name tag pinned to Ethan's jacket from a school event. It's right there, kid, he said with a grin, breaking the tension. Ethan laughed nervously, relaxing a little. Musk glanced at the bracelet again. How much is it? He asked. The shopkeeper replied, $56. He looked at Ethan's stack of cash and coins, then added kindly, he's got it all here. Musk raised an eyebrow, a flicker of amusement crossing his face. $56, huh? He paused, then turned to Ethan. Tell you what, I'll take care of this for you. Consider it a birthday gift for your mom from both of us. Ethan's jaw dropped. Wait, what? You don't have to do that, he stammered, his voice breaking with surprise. Musk smiled, waving off the protest. I know I don't have to, but I want to. Let's just say I like what you're doing here. It's a reminder of what really matters. Before Ethan could process what was happening, Musk reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek black wallet. He handed the shopkeeper a crisp $100 bill. Keep the change, he said, giving the older man a nod. Ethan stood frozen, the bracelet still in his hand. I don't know what to say, he whispered, his eyes darting between Musk and the shopkeeper. Musk crouched slightly to meet Ethan's gaze. You don't have to say anything. Just make sure your mom has a great birthday. Okay. Ethan nodded slowly, still overwhelmed. But as he glanced at Musk, he saw something in the man's expression, a quiet encouragement. As if this wasn't just about the bracelet, it was about something bigger. What Ethan didn't know was that this simple act of kindness was only the beginning. Musk had one more question that would turn this moment into something extraordinary. Ethan, still clutching the bracelet, felt a rush of gratitude bubbling up inside him. He managed a quiet thank you. But Musk's next words stopped him in his tracks. Ethan, Musk began, his tone shifting to something more serious. Do you have any big dreams? Anything you've always wanted to do? The question caught Ethan off guard. He blinked, unsure how to answer. He wasn't used to being asked things like that. People didn't usually pay much attention to a kid like him. I don't know, he said hesitantly, his fingers fidgeting with the edge of the bracelet box. I mean, I guess I'd like to do something that makes my mom proud. Maybe build something like you do. Musk's eyebrows lifted slightly, his curiosity deepening. Build something like what? Ethan thought for a moment, the words coming slowly. She always says she wishes we had a better house. Something where we don't have to fix things all the time. Maybe one day I could make houses that don't fall apart so easily. Ones that people like us could actually afford. Musk leaned back, clearly impressed. Affordable, durable housing. That's a big idea, you know. There's a lot of people out there trying to solve problems like that, but not everyone has the kind of perspective you do. Ethan shrugged again, embarrassed. It's just something I've thought about. I don't know if I could actually do it. Musk's expression softened, and for a moment, the world outside the little store seemed to fade. Ethan, let me tell you something. Every big idea starts with someone just like you. Someone who sees a problem and thinks, maybe I can fix that. It doesn't matter how small you start. What matters is that you care enough to try. Ethan stared at him, the words sinking in like a seed being planted. He'd never thought about it that way before. Could he really do something like that? Musk straightened up, his trademark confidence returning. Tell you what, I'm going to help you get started. Consider it an investment in your future. Ethan's eyes widened. What do you mean? Musk pulled out his phone, tapping the screen for a few moments before looking back at Ethan. Give me your mom's name and phone number. I want to make sure you two have what you need to dream a little bigger. The shopkeeper watched the scene unfold with quiet astonishment. his kind eyes darting between the boy and the billionaire. Ethan hesitated, then slowly gave Musk his mom's information. All right, Musk said, sliding his phone back into his pocket. I'll be in touch. For now, go make her birthday unforgettable. Ethan had no idea what Musk was planning, but the spark of hope in his chest was undeniable. The world outside the store suddenly seemed full of possibilities. The next day, Ethan could barely contain his excitement as he handed his mom the small, carefully wrapped box. He had practiced what to say in his head a dozen times. But when the moment came, all he could manage was a simple, heartfelt, "Happy birthday, Mom." His mom, Maria, looked at the box in surprise. She wasn't used to getting gifts, especially something as thoughtful as this. As she opened the box and saw the silver bracelet, her eyes filled with tears. "Ethan, this is beautiful," she whispered, pulling him into a tight hug. "You didn't have to do this." "I wanted to," Ethan replied, his voice steady despite the lump in his throat. "You deserve it, Mom." Maria smiled, her fingers tracing the charm on the bracelet. She had no idea the gift was just the beginning. Later that evening, as they sat down for dinner in their small, cozy kitchen, Maria's phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at the unfamiliar number and hesitated before answering. "Hello? Hi, is this Maria?" A voice on the other end asked. It was confident yet kind. And for a moment, Maria couldn't place it. "This is Elon Musk." Maria nearly dropped the phone. "Excuse me," she said, glancing at Ethan, who looked just as puzzled. Musk chuckled lightly. "I know this might sound unexpected, but I met your son yesterday at the jewelry store. He told me about how hard you work and how much he admires you. I just wanted to say you've raised an incredible kid." Maria's hand flew to her chest, overwhelmed. "Thank you. That's very kind of you." Well, Musk continued, he also mentioned a dream of his, something about building better homes for families like yours. "It's a pretty great idea, and I want to help him make it happen." Maria's mouth fell open, unable to form words. Ethan sat frozen, his fork halfway to his mouth. Musk continued, undeterred by the stunned silence. "I've arranged for your rent to be covered for the next year," he said. "And starting next week, Ethan will have a mentor to help him explore his interest in design and engineering. If there's anything else you two need to make life a little easier, just let me know." Tears streamed down Maria's face as she struggled to process what she was hearing. I don't know what to say," she stammered. This is unbelievable." Ethan jumped up from his seat, grabbing the phone from his mom. "Mr. Musk," he said, his voice shaking. "Thank you. I don't know how to thank you enough." "You already have," Musk replied. "Just keep dreaming big and never forget where you came from. That's all the thanks I need." The call ended, but the impact of those words lingered, reshaping not just their lives, but their sense of what was possible. The following weeks were a whirlwind. True to word, to Musk's team connected Ethan with a mentor and engineer named Darren, who shared Musk's vision for innovative, affordable housing. Darren didn't just teach Ethan the basics of design and construction. He treated the boy's ideas with the kind of respect that made Ethan feel capable of anything. Maria's life changed too. For the first time in years, she didn't have to worry about rent or juggling multiple jobs to make ends meet. The extra breathing room allowed her to spend more time with Ethan, sharing stories, dreaming about the future, and marveling at how one unexpected encounter had turned their lives around. But the story didn't stop there. News of Musk's gesture spread quickly, picked up by local papers and eventually national media. When reporters showed up at their door, Maria and Ethan shared their story not to seek attention, but to inspire others. "It's not just about what someone gave us," Maria told one reporter. "It's about how one act of kindness can remind you to believe in yourself and in the goodness of people." Ethan, now more determined than ever, started sketching blueprints for the houses he dreamed of building. His mentor encouraged him to think big, and Musk's team even helped him present his ideas at a community event. People were amazed by his passion and creativity, and soon others wanted to help bring his vision to life. The once quiet boy from Springfield became a voice for change, proving that even a small act of kindness can spark something extraordinary. People from all walks of life reached out, offering support, resources, and encouragement for Ethan and Maria. Their journey had only just begun, but they carried with them the powerful lesson Musk had shared that day in the store. Every great vision begins with a person bold enough to dream. One evening, as Ethan and his mom sat on the porch, watching the fading colors of the sunset, Ethan turned to her and said, "Maybe one day I'll build homes for everyone who needs one." Maria smiled gently, her hand resting on his shoulder. You already have the heart for it, Ethan. Everything else will fall into place. If this story touched you, let it serve as a reminder of the incredible power of generosity and the courage to dream. Share this story with someone who might need a little hope today. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that inspire us to believe in the goodness of the world. Together, let's spread hope, one story at a time.